I like our magic.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are live. It is 2100 on a Friday night. That means it's time for the Brushfire Mind. So I guess without further ado, here we go. Let's see. So this week has been there's been a little bit of noise going on this week. We've got a downed aircraft, and what's interesting is that in this particular case, we have a downed aircraft that, for all appearances, is the work of a terror group. The information that's being reported, the smoke signals going off in the cabin before the plane was in distress, as it were. The plane basically dropped straight down instead of breaking into a glide path like it should have. You know, if we were talking about engine failure, then you get the glide path. It's not going to be smooth and long. It's still going to drop like a rock, but it's going to drop like a slightly more aerodynamic rock. It's not just going to flip around 360 and go straight down like it did. So really the most interesting thing about it is that no group has claimed responsibility for it as a terror attack. Now that's pretty unusual. Even after 9/11, we had old Osama, and every time I go to say his name, I almost say Obama, and it's just a thing. But even after 9/11, we had Osama putting out videos damn near immediately. So that's what's kind of weird about this particular one. There is a large chunk of evidence. The general wisdom basically says that it's got to be a terrorist attack. But no one has made a claim for it yet. And that's very interesting and very uncommon. Now, of course, because everything has to be politicized, as soon as it happened, Trump pops up, oh yeah, this was terrorism, and it's happening because we've got weak leaders and blah, 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 blah. I happen to think he's right. I happen to think he's 100% spot on with that. Now, I might actually make the argument that he's inadvertently correct, that he's kind of being an asshole, and he just happens to be an asshole who's correct this time. Don't get twisted. I love me some Trump, no doubt. And Hillary is the enemy. But Hillary, of course, is trying to play it coy. She's, oh, well, let's wait and see what the evidence bears out. Let's make sure there wasn't a videotape. Give it a week. She'll say, who cares? What difference does it make? The plane went down. People are dead. Nobody cares why. This ain't complicated.
Well, no. So out at sea, also at 38,000 feet, there aren't a whole lot of cameras that are going to reach that they're going to tell you about.
Right. So yeah, forgive me. I'm adjusting the machine a little bit there. So yeah, I don't see. The only thing I can think of as far as why someone would conduct the attack and then not claim any credit for it, there is a significant response. Over the last 15, 20 years, America has very, very clearly and transparently telegraphed its most probable response to any kind of suspected terrorist activity. And that response is our air traffic, our air travel just slows to a crawl. It's absolutely crippled. Now that's going to have an effect on the economy. It's going to have an effect on trade deals. It's going to cause one great big flipping quagmire. And it just happens to be the case that right now, at Hartsfield-Jackson, the airport in Atlanta, which is the single busiest airport on the planet. I think LaGuardia and O'Hare are larger, but at Hartsfield, Atlanta, Jackson is by far the busiest airport. Shit, when I flew from Hawaii to Afghanistan, we had a layover in Atlanta.
Yep, it is one massive hub.
So, in fact, I think when I flew from Fort Jackson, Missouri, or I'm sorry, Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, to the Defense Language Institute in Monterey, California, I had a layover in Atlanta.
And it was probably cheaper than a direct flight, which always amazing.
I don't know what my dime. But I tell you what, after basic combat training, that $9 pack of cigarettes at the airport was absolutely worth every red penny.
And see, you should have been able to walk away from it so easily.
Yeah, I didn't want to. I wasn't interested. Actually, I quit smoking for like 9 months straight, and I cheated. I smoked that pack while I was stuck in Denver, and then I went to DLI. Anyway, so we've got this probable terrorist attack, and it's just immediately politicized. And why? I mean, why? This is not something that should be politicized. But of course, as we all know, obviously, criticizing Islam and global warming is what causes terrorism. In fact, global warming and criticizing global warming are both the primary causes of terrorism. Apparently, yeah, it's got nothing. Radical jihadi terrorism has nothing to do with, I don't know, the Quran, for example. That's just not part of the equation, obviously.
Yeah. Main book of the religion can't teach bad things interpreted that way. Silliness.
What do you think, Steve?
I think it's all a bunch of tree-hugging hippie crap.
Jihadi terrorism? Now there is a perspective.
That's as far as the flight goes. I wouldn't be surprised at all to know it was terrorism, but I don't know. I don't want to jump to conclusions. We've seen strange stuff happen. We've seen chunks of airplanes come off on aircraft on their way to Hawaii and stuff like that, which caused funny anomalies. So I would like a little bit more investigation before I jump to conclusions. This day and age, that has to be kind of your go-to suspicion, at least. But politicizing it, somehow, Hillary, we have to wait and see, but no matter what, it'll be the Republicans' fault. Donald Trump coming out and just blaming terrorism before you think, yeah, the jump and the gun stuff isn't doing anybody any favors.
Right.
So I don't know. It says that there was a smoke detector in a bathroom that definitely did go off. I don't know. That still doesn't conclusively prove much other than something went wrong. I just don't know what to expect.
Well, even apart from the smoke detector going off early, the thing that puts me in mind of it being terrorism generally is that airplanes don't just crash. Airplanes don't just fail. You almost have to have either an attack or a sabotage to have a plane crash. I
didn't get the numbers. There was something on WSB that was talking about how rare it is for a plane to crash from cruising altitude. Usually it's a takeoff or landing kind of thing, not usually at cruising.
Right.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
And it's more often takeoff than landing because it's when the most stress is being put on the engine.
That's right.
If the engine's going to fail, it's going to happen when you're pushing it the hardest. And it's getting pushed the hardest, getting that big butt up in the air. You're not exactly putting the gas. You're not putting the pedal to the metal when you're landing.
God, I hope
Not. It's not like these things run on retro rockets, right?
Right. Wait. No, not as such. Not until they're on the ground.
Well, but I mean there's not much more to say about that in particular. But I felt like it deserved at least a little. We needed to at least touch it a little bit.
The cart before the horse thing's kind of annoying.
Roger that. So, what's next, Steve? What you got?
I had a fleeting thought of something and it left. I was hoping you'd already have something lined up.
You don't want to spend the rest of the hour criticizing the concept of altruism as a morally reprehensible practice?
Well, I wasn't prepared for that subject matter, but forced altruism I would agree with. The fact that I'd like to do something for somebody with my stuff, I think that's all right.
You'd like to do something for somebody with your stuff?
If I wanted to, I think that's all right, yeah.
So you might want to, and you might enjoy having done that?
Oh, I have enjoyed doing that. Doing things for other people I have enjoyed. Should I force you to do things? No, probably not.
So there's a legitimate, measurable, quantifiable benefit to you doing good for other people.
Yeah, it felt good.
See? There's no such thing as altruism.
It was completely I can't say it was completely for how it made me feel, but there definitely was a mutual benefit out of it. They got an advantage, and I felt good.
There we go. Are we watching your TV with you?
Look like he's in a dark room.
Well, we can hear your television.
You can hear my damn television?
Yep.
You can hear your voice, but your picture is dark.
Well, I'm wondering whether if I got plugged in would be working for a microphone. Have I got something plugged in somewhere?
Looks like you're trying to get a picture. There's some stuff like ghosting into the image, but overall it's just a black shot.
There's a camera plugged in. I didn't realize it.
There he is.
Damn. I was going to see what y'all are up to.
Well, Chris, you can give him the subject matter at hand. You're smoother with that.
Y'all aren't talking about them onions again, are you?
Well, we was just about to criticize the concept of altruism as generally flawed and incorrect.
Altruism. Well, I'm a damn altruist. Ain't I? Well, hell, Mr. Hank here, he'll tell you I'm an altruist. I got it bad.
You get a shot for that?
I don't know if there's a shot or not. I didn't know there was camera damn plugged in either. And it's not even my good camera. I got a better camera somewhere.
I quit using mine. My MacBook's got a better camera than the one I bought for the other computer. So describe, Chris, the specific of why altruism, at least as face value, would qualify the way you say it.
See, and it's really interesting that Rod's here for this. I was having this conversation with a buddy of mine earlier. We're talking about altruism. Basically, altruism in the sense that the word is used just doesn't exist. There is a positive benefit. You get a good feeling. You satisfy that filial piety. There is something in it for you.
And I don't hold with that being a bad thing for anybody at all. Just what word would serve it better than altruism?
Well, I kind of agree with you. I've been called a mooching maggot.
Lynching magnet?
A mooching maggot, because I was getting, my folks were paying for me to have a $10 a month gym membership. I'm sitting there taking care of them, waiting on them hand over foot, right? Everything in the world, getting a 20 every once in a while, and a $10 a month gym membership. You'd be amazing how fast. It's amazing how fast people shut their freaking mouths up when they find out, well, that gym membership's only $10 a month.
Right.
So you go to Planet Fitness.
I used to. I don't live within any. I used to go 2 hours a night. Man, I was tearing it up. Altruism. The church folks, they don't like giving money away to folks that ain't gonna do right. They don't want to feed you. They don't want to. They don't want to open up a little grocery thing where they passing out food bank.
Right, food bank.
They don't want to open a food bank and have you go turn that food they just spent money to get into drugs. They're not even remotely interested in that. Right? They don't want people gaming the system. They want to give you food because you're going to do right. You know, right? You're going to feed your youngins.
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
They're trying to get something out of it. They have an objective. They have goals. And the church folks, so we'll talk about them because I can.
Yeah, fair enough.
Right? They've got goals in mind. They want you to behave and act right and all this other kind of stuff, right? Most of them opt for just cooking food and we'll give you food, but when we were working with homeless people, we didn't tell them what time we were going to eat because they would game the system there. Right? We wanted them to come participate in the program, and if dinner was at the end and they knew it, well, nobody show up for the program. They just show up for dinner.
Yeah.
Right? So even my old man was having to finagle things in order to, well, we're not going to tell them what we're going to have dinner. We're going to either the beginning, the middle, or the end. Does that make sense? No, that was somebody get cornbread and vegetable soup together. Right? But does that make sense? So Chris is saying people have a. I don't know if they're necessarily getting something out of it because what are they getting out of it? But they've got objectives. They're trying to have. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. The point Chris is making, the altruism in the sense that the definition is used is just the idea of giving things away being enough in and of itself, not expecting anything in return, when in fact any personal profit in it it's almost a motive to do it because it feels good sometimes.
Well, working with homeless people, you're not going to get a lot in return.
Would you do it if it wasn't rewarding in some way?
I think there's a reward in there somewhere.
And I think that's all we're doing is splitting hairs. That altruism is not the right word for that particular application.
Well, here's what I wanted to get at with it. When we talk about altruism, talk about charity, and we start digging into the political part of that, where we find the egalitarian philosophies that try to justify welfare state. Cameron, I muted you for a reason. You're making too much damn noise. Don't turn it back off again until you're ready to sit down and chit-chat. Gum up my show. Damn, son. Anyway, so the welfare state exists on this whole concept of altruism and egalitarianism from each according to his ability and then to each according to his need. Now, obviously, that just can't work. Here's the problem. Altruism, all by its onesie, without that men are allowed to profit on occasion, gives us this problem. There's a professor, Dr. Singer, wrote a paper. Rod probably read this one about famine relief, where old boy says that men ought to impoverish themselves nearly to the level of suffering that victims of natural disaster, famine, so on and so forth, to which they have been impoverished. So he actually takes that so far as to say that he argues that it is immoral or unethical for a person to go to the movie theater, to own a cellular phone, to own an automobile, to spend money on anything short of absolute bare minimum subsistence for his family and himself, so long as there are people in the world who could use that money. So long as there are people in the world who are hungry, who are impoverished. And he actually argues not. This isn't some hyperbolic shit like your Jonathan Swift and A Modest Proposal. He's not speaking satirically. He's honestly making his point. It's immoral to have money, basically. That it is everyone's moral obligation to do to the most of their ability, to the point that they have impoverished themselves, to assist those in need. My quick and easy rebuttal to that is, if it's everybody's moral responsibility to do good for other people who need good done for them, then is it not immoral for those people to have allowed themselves to become incapable of doing good for other people? The poor are actually evil, according to this Dr. Singer's argument, because he hasn't developed his argument to its fullest extent. If it is the moral and ethical obligation of every person to impoverish themselves in an effort to render aid, then effectively you're making yourself unable to comply with that moral imperative that you should render aid. If that's the case, then it is actually immoral to be poor, because you have not allowed yourself to have the means by which to render aid.
You have to be careful. Well, the definitive line there, because there are people who aren't able to render help, who do have honest medical conditions, who do have physical injuries, things like that. When you're talking about someone capable of that doesn't, just because we all know people that just stay at home and don't work a job, or work with the minimal amount possible. I could argue that is evil, but as far as the people who, well, no, but you're making money even when you're at home doing it. Possible.
Oh yeah.
We all like to be lazy, but some of us have things to provide before others that we provide before we become lazy.
Oh yeah.
Now, is it not altruistic to want to take care of my family to an extent that we're all comfortable with before I try to give something to someone else?
Oh yeah, and you know where I stand on that. Yeah. I mean, blood is blood, and once you're talking about the blood, every other life is forfeit.
If need be.
Yeah. Yeah. So you talk about it being immoral to be poor. I don't think I don't know that it would necessarily be immoral, but people do seem to do better and are more likely to do right when they work hard for what they have. They appreciate its value more. And I believe in the concept of mutual self-interest. If I lawfully and ethically make as much money as I want to make, who really cares? You can do the exact same thing, and I'm A-okay with it. If you want to voluntarily contribute to charity, but I think the welfare state itself is actually more oppressive than anything else. It's you create this donut hole where instead of using it as a ladder or a crutch, as the language commonly says, it instead kind of creates this barrier, because it doesn't take much money over minimum wage, and then you lose all the benefits. And I'm not saying that you need to have the benefits forever, and I'm not saying you need to be able to make a whole bunch of money and keep the benefits, but the second you start making money, all the benefits go away. There's no period where they're graded out or anything like that. And a lot of people panic, and I've even seen it doing what I do with some of my customers, where they quit their job because, I mean, I remember this one lady that just told me, she was like, hey, I thought I wanted to quit selling dope, but instead I'm going to lose my rent assistance, and I'm going to lose my food stamps and all that, and I only make $9 an hour at Wendy's, and that just can't keep up with everything else. So she got sick and quit her job at Wendy's. And I mean, she was really honest with me about all of this because she was trying to buy more insurance. So I don't know if poverty itself is
You sold it
immoral.
to her, right?
What?
You sold
No.
it the insurance, right?
No. I'm not trying to get tied to a dope dealer.
A lot of money still spent.
Nope.
Well,
Not in our business, it doesn't.
well, you don't know where it came from.
We are legally responsible to assume if there's a reasonable suspicion.
Really?
We are legally responsible to make every effort to make the assumption correctly.
Wow, that's interesting. I wouldn't have expected.
Yep, it's an anti-money laundering provision of the law. If somebody if somebody says, "Hey man, can you sell me a $500,000 whole life policy, paid up full for cash? By the way,
no.
can I take a loan out on that policy tomorrow?"
No.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I can do it.
Those people just been reading Robert Heinlein. That's all.
I don't think any of my customers even know who Robert Heinlein is.
I don't think any of Cameron's customers could read the word Heinlein.
I'm sorry. I beg to differ. I believe they can read it. I just bet they haven't.
I think you may be giving them too much credit there, old bald man. But
I think it's some of both.
But hey, with gay marriage and tranny bathrooms, we're rapidly wandering toward a moon is a harsh mistress, multiple marriage, nobody knows who the kids is, pseudo-Socratic faux Heinleinian utopia, dystopia.
That's my damn favorite book. Just so you know.
Harsh mistress? Hell yeah.
I don't give a shit about Aaron Rand, but I love me some moon is a harsh mistress.
Throwing rocks at the earth.
Yeah.
That was a wonderful story.
Oh,
see, I've never read that book.
Oh, you need to. Some of Heinlein's stuff.
Apparently, I should.
Like that one. Really like that one.
Cameron, it's a classic story. Boy meets robot. Robot becomes sentient. They declare war on the Earth, and the city of Luna, the first prison colony on the moon, struggles for its independence in the first pseudo-interstellar civil war. Also, they kill a lot of Indians with a dot, not a feather.
that's where that tan stoffel comes from. Ain't no such thing as a free lunch.
Ain't no such thing as a free lunch. Tan staffel.
Wow. Well, all right then.
Order it. It's like $2 for a used copy.
I'm actually driving to the beach tomorrow. I might see if there's some place I could buy a copy not too far away from where we're staying.
Well, there's a Russian edition online you could download.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of Russian stuff online you can download totally for free.
This is kind of funny, Cam. The room you're sitting in makes it look like you're in witness protection right now. The only thing illuminated is your shirt.
It does.
Yes, I was in the room with Gotti.
There it is.
It was very shocking. I don't know how I would really describe it other than shocking.
Okay, so I guess we ran out of.
Yeah,
y'all done
altruism.
the plane yet?
Yeah, we already talked about the plane, but what you got? What you got, Cameron?
I mean, okay, is it possible that it's a false flag attack? I mean, nobody claims it. I realize that that all indications point to ISIS blew it up. I mean, with where the plane went down, with where it took off from, where it was bound for, blah 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 blah. I realize all that, but at the same time, ISIS, man, they're pretty good about claiming credit for every little teeny tiny thing. I mean, they've got their own magazine where they put pictures of dead soldiers in the magazine as a recruitment tool.
Yep.
And they haven't taken credit for this yet. That's just really, for me personally, that's really strange. It is. And is it possibly some kind of bizarre false flag attack?
Basically, those are the points that we hit earlier. And like I was telling you earlier, Cameron, when we were talking about this before the show, the only reason I can see strategically for it to be done by a terrorist organization and then not claim credit for it immediately is kind of that, to heap on the extra panic. There's a lot to be said for heaping on that panic, because I mean, look at where we are right now. Hartsfield-Jackson, busiest airport in the world, just happens to be going through some major security upgrades right now. And for the last 2-3 weeks, they've been reporting, hey, if you've got a flight out of Hartsfield-Jackson, you better show up 3.5 to 4 hours early. Except for peak hours, where you need to be there 5.5 to 6 hours early. And yeah, that's going to get easier when there's all of a sudden a new whiff of terror in the air.
Right.
Well, still, there's just something in it that doesn't sit right with me, and it could just be.
Well, it ain't flying right, that's for sure.
Sorry about that. My boss is texting me right now, and he has made it very clear that I need to let you guys go and contact him instead.
Oh, really? He's not watching the show.
Probably not. All right, guys. Good night.
All right, brother. Good night.
All right, where'd Cameron go?
You didn't hear what he said?
No, I was sitting there listening to it. His boss is getting on to him.
Yeah, he just got a text message from the boss. Apparently, he needs to call in.
9:30 on a Friday night. That's.
I thought he sold insurance. Did something blow up?
I don't know.
They didn't have the account on that plane, did they?
No. Matter of fact, I just about guarantee you that plane was done by Lloyd's of London.
Yeah, somebody's familiar at least, yes. Yeah, I've been trying to check the latest updates and stuff, and there's nothing breaking on that plane, so we're still not getting any updates.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna digress.
The BBC, so.
I'm gonna digress on that for a second. I put it in typey sidebar. Y'all talking about that commie thing, each according to his ability, each according to his need. Well, you know that's actually how you calculate the wage price equilibrium sort of a thing. You know, you're supposed to get enough money for your work to be able to pay for your stuff, right? Right. So there's
back up and say that again.
when you're working, right? You're agreeing to work for enough money so you can live on it, right? Nobody in his right mind is going to take a job where he can't make enough money to live on it, right? If he does, he's going to have to do all kinds of scaling back and dialing back and getting rid of things and having less of a consumer experience, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So here's his ability, right? And it's going to get matched up with his needs, right? And that's how you calculate wage levels.
Well, it
Right?
can be. Can be. I think that the analogy that they use it in the book is that those that are able are to give to those who are not able. I don't think it's the same as the wage price equilibrium that way. That's not necessarily a socialistic attitude.
Well, I was trying to take it out of a socialistic concept there, and it's acid tested capitalism.
Well, yes, I guess you can look at it kind of the same way, simply because whatever someone has to output is going to determine how much money they're willing to work for. I won't argue that. They're just in this particular discussion, that one wasn't really applicable.
But it's always fun to
Oh, yeah.
pull that one out when somebody's trying to criticize the communism too heavily. I've got a hat somewhere. I don't know where it is. It says "Commie Bastard" on it. I can get it not chew a toothpick when I'm wearing the hat. When I was in college, I used to play the role of the commie. I was a good commie too. I'd be in those history classes, and I was just playing like I was a communist. And the professors were up there doing everything they could do to keep them laughing their butts off, because I knew what kind of capitalist this guy over here was. He's going to fall far from the tree. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They had some notion about what my dad's law firm was about. And for me to play the pure comic was just hysterical. You never seen me do that, have you, Ogre?
What, play the pure commie?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I've seen it once or twice.
Once or twice.
I can play devil's advocate pretty good a lot of times and see both sides of an argument, even if it's a fallacious argument on one side. I can still kind of see where the argument's coming from a lot of times. And being able to tell the difference in it being nonsensical and being able to troll like you were are two different levels of game.
I'm pretty good at trolling. I'm reminded of something that Donald Trump said not long ago. He doesn't want to have people starving in the streets. He said he's not going to allow it. He's apparently going to open up soup kitchens and stuff like that, and going to shake the bushes to make sure that folks aren't. It doesn't match up with his perception of what the United States is supposed to be about. Go corral these people, put them on a farm somewhere. I don't know. I don't know how he's going to do it. I don't know how he's going to build his wall.
Isn't that what I wrote earlier? Isn't that what I wrote earlier, that we ought to corral these people and put them on a farm somewhere? Let them grow food. Let them earn money growing food.
Well, there's a for their own good argument.
Well, I see it like this: you build the farm, right? You put it out there. You put the big ass barracks on it, and then you don't actually. I wouldn't actually I wouldn't actually support corralling anybody. I mean, if you want to just starve to death in the street, that's none of my business either. But you build the farm out in the middle of nowhere. Maybe there's a bus that goes there once a month. Bus tour goes around the country. You just hop on, ride it out there to the farm.
No, we take you to where the food grows.
You
Well,
can show up.
That's not too different than the plan of getting 100 families together and submitting the property to the Condominium Act. It's the same thing. What's good for a normal family would also be good for these people that are running around
Yes.
their property.
Well, I don't think anybody can argue that something, at least in the idea of a commune setting, call it communist if you want to that extent of the word, in small groups, in agreements among adults who are doing it actively and paying attention to things, it can work for a while. That's been proven time and time again. But forcing an entire nation of people to live by rules like that are the parts that don't work, and you have to hate people for not listening.
Meth heads. They're feeding all these kids that Adderall. It's the same thing as that. I mean, how do you get somebody off this stuff? You have to carry them out the farm. That's about all there is to it. It's going to take about 2 years for them to get their system back in order. There's so many people down here in South Georgia on meth, it's just not even funny. I don't know.
Well, that's right. You're out in Meth County, where the teeth are bad and the smoke piles just kind of roll on.
Tufus is bingo. Here's the thing: the Navy. My dad used to tell me about it when I was a kid. He said the Navy had a concept of the authoritarian paternalism, and that's how they treated their people. Right? They were authoritarians because they were in control of them, but they were also paternalistic. We're still swirling around the altruism. You see what I'm saying? I believe people here have been in the military, and while they're in the military, they're probably treated pretty well. But what does the VA do for them later?
Well, remember, the Army is actively done by people who are around each other quite often, other than large orders. It's filtered down pretty well. The VA is done by a bunch of incompetent people who don't know how to serve.
I had one come to the house that made me pretty mad.
Right.
Yeah.
You told us that story. Did I tell you about the one? Okay. So here it is. I go to the VA for an appointment. It's about 2 years ago. Right. I get in there. I walk up to the desk. I'm standing in line. I'm the last man in line. There's 3 or 4 in front of me. 3 or 4 in front of me get processed. I get up there, and there's this big old boy. I weigh 350. This old boy was 600 pounds if he got out of bed that morning, which I ain't too sure about that neither. And he was sitting in this poor old office chair that was just blowed out. Sitting there, he's got his computer in front of him, and he's kind of slumped over sideways like this. And he say, "What your Social Security number?" And I tell him. He reaches over and he types the first 3 digits. And I'm looking at him, and I realize this son of a bitch right here is snoring. Typed in my first 3 and fell asleep. And all of a sudden he goes, "What's your social?" like he's waiting on me. It was 9 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my God!
So yeah, that's what the VA's all about. That's how the VA's like.
You got to remember, most of the mentality is once you get on the government paycheck, you don't have to worry about nothing anymore. There are some people who do it for the right reasons. Some people who do it because it's easy money.
I bought something for show and tell. Can you see that? This is the toilet supply line. Your toilet won't work if it ain't got a supply line.
Yeah, I just replaced one of those recently.
Now look at here.
It flooded the subfloor under my second story. Steve saw it. I had to cut holes in my kitchen ceiling and let the water out.
Yep.
I went to the beach last week and I forgot to turn the water off going into the house at the street. But today I was sitting in my chair, minding my own business, and I heard this sound. And I went in there and this thing was spewing water because it had
separated.
It had a crack in it and it was still attached. But when I turned the valve and turned it off, we had a little, this is Apollo 13.
Pardon me.
Lowe's, and I said, "Have you got one that's got metal on it?" And they said, "No, but we got this one, and it's a little bit better built."
Oh yeah, that one will serve you.
Yeah.
Yep.
But that fella that come to my house, he's in need of help. He needs re-education or something. There's all them folks at the VA, and most of them are doing their jobs right. And then you get one little bitty fella. You know what I mean?
And he needs that little bit of re-education.
Well, nobody's doing his
like
job.
The Better Business Bureau, or the bat, the boot, and the bastonata.
Nobody would be better off with nobody even doing that job. Nobody did the job for 2 years. And
well,
that's
Rob, how can the government get bigger if we don't make up new jobs?
I don't think that the VA is competent to be in charge of veterans who have cognitive impairments.
Or cognitive ability, quite honestly.
I don't think your sentence needed to go on that long.
Which one?
It could have just stopped after the first 4 words.
I don't think you said I don't think the VA is competent. But that was enough.
I'd rather see the local probate court be in charge of all that for all those veterans that have cognitive impairments. Yeah, we're still swirling around that altruism. Don't you think?
Well, no,
Nope.
at that point,
That's not.
We'll look at it a different way, because now altruism. Now we're talking about folks that cannot look after themselves, and that's the whole damn purpose of altruism, is to look after folks that can't take care of themselves.
right, but they
That's what it's for.
well, it is,
Yes.
but you're looking at it. This isn't somebody poor down the street. This is somebody that signed a contract, and part of the contract was we will take care of you whatever happens from this point forward, and they don't. It's a little.
Well, hold on. The broader point there. No, Rod's right. That is what proper altruism is. It's there to take care of people who can't take care of themselves. That's what it's about.
Government
Now-
programs are not meant for folks that don't deserve to be on them.
So what we have is government programs being constructed under the guise of altruism, which is a fantastic way to leverage some votes using the power construct that fucking Galbraith called the conditioned power of condition. But the condition in this case is really an excuse to actually leverage compensatory power, because you're buying votes from broke people.
That's it.
Now, that's how the welfare state in general was constructed and continues to grow and grow and grow. Here's one, and I know, Rod, I know you're tracking on this. Yeah, I'm 99% certain. But Steve, do you know why the food stamp program is administered by the Department of Agriculture?
I did at one time pick that apart, but I haven't thought about any of that connection for a while. You just
Subsidy. Who's being subsidized?
No. It's better. Well,
Through the full price.
the original food stamp program was not a government subsidy. The way it worked was, what happened was,
Here's
we
your
had a food shortage in the inner cities. We had an urbanite food shortage, and we had produce surplus on farms and limited transportation access. Basically, what they did is Uncle Sam went out there and he said, "Hey, I've got these stamps. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to go ahead and pay me for the food that you want to buy. Here's your stamp that says you already paid for your food. That way we have the money before you get your food, so we can use that money to get the food on a train and get it to you." So the original food stamp program was designed to solve a legitimate problem of logistics. The problem was that the farmers weren't making the money. They didn't have the profit margin, or the revenue, not even profit, the revenue, to fund the transportation of the food into the city. They were losing their asses on surplus that was just rotting in the field. So Uncle Sam came in, and that was a viable solution. And it was functionally a free market solution that was just administrated. You know, the government was functionally just the go-between there. Get the money from the people, put it into the train, move the food into the city, but the money, it wasn't taxed, it wasn't subsidized by tax dollars. It was later that they changed it up and just started giving food stamps away.
That had a place that you went to. Okay.
Yes, you had to go to you had to go to the train depot.
You went to, and you weren't getting full retail price at Kroger kind of stuff. It was later on that the rich guys go, well, the farmer's getting paid, but we're supposed to get paid. The farmer's only getting 25 cents, and we're supposed to get $1.25 if he gets 25 cents. Right? and so all the middlemen with their long beards or whatever, all the middlemen were just all upset because they were getting cut out of that thing. And if poor people don't have food, that's going, and they get money, that's going to drive the prices of everything down. How many gallons of milk can you sell for $3.75 if nobody's got $3.75? Right now they got them. They swipe the card at Walmart, and the price of a gallon of milk just keeps going up and up and up and up, and everything else keeps going up and up and up and up. It's gone from being they had a place over yonder you could get to, and they give you a block of government cheese and everything else you needed, and it was good stuff, to now you're getting inferior quality goods, really, and you're spending 5 times as much money to get it. I'd go back to just having a local distribution, like next to the courthouse or something like that. You want some food? Come on in. We don't care if you're going to sell it for meth. That's all you're going to get.
I would love to see flipping Army chow halls. Just all over the place. Army chow hall. You go in, you pick up your tray, you get slop thrown on your plate. Army chow hall is good eating. Now, I mean, I used to go in there and say, yeah, I'll have a 3-egg omelet and 3 eggs over easy and 3 eggs scrambled and the bacon.
At least you had selection.
No, but seriously, I'd go in and eat a half a dozen eggs, 6 strips of bacon, and 3 honeydew melons, or
whatever was there.
Yeah, military diet ain't no joke. I need to consume 20,000 calories an hour so that I can keep up this PT score. You want me to run 7 miles an hour, you need to feed me 20,000 calories an hour. Well, brother, I think we're about ready to wrap this one up. We're coming to a slowdown and not getting much talked about.
Yeah, it was a quiet week, all things considered.
It was.
A bunch of personal stuff going on, but most of the national level news stuff really wasn't that interesting.
Right.
And sadly, the only interesting thing was innocent people died, and we don't know who did it yet.
Well, with any luck, we will have found out by the end of next week, so keep it tuned, and we will see you next week. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Brushfire Mind every Friday night at 2100. Look forward to seeing you next Friday night, and until then, remember, if you build a man a fire, you'll keep him warm for the evening. But if you set a man on fire, he'll be warm for the rest of his life.
Like us on Facebook.
Yeah, like us on Facebook, Brushfire Mind on Facebook, at Brushfire Mind on Twitter. Catch us there, and go check us out on our Patreon account. As soon as we hit that next milestone, we're going to be putting out the first of the dramatized Platonic dialogues. We'll be beginning with the Crito, and it should be a lot of fun for everybody.
And check out the blog on the website. Lots of articles exist to keep you busy.
And we'll see you at the Brushfire Mind. Good night.
Good night.